Good morning, afternoon. It's easy to feel like giving up is the only option when we face challenges. We've all been there, haven't we? In those moments of doubt, when the road ahead seems impossible and the weight of the world feels too heavy to carry. But here's the truth: giving up is never the answer. We are capable of far more than we sometimes believe. In fact, the moments we feel like quitting are often the moments we're on the verge of a breakthrough dot. When we think about strength, we often picture someone who is tough, unshaken, and in control. But true strength doesn't look like a fortress. It looks like an open door. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, but it's the most profound form of courage we have. Choosing to embrace vulnerability means allowing ourselves to be seen not as perfect, not as having it all together, but as real, raw, and human. Vulnerability is the foundation of every meaningful connection we make in life. Think about it: the moments when you felt closest to another person are likely the moments when they've shared something real, something honest, something that made them feel exposed. Maybe it was a struggle they were going through, a mistake they made, or a dream they hadn't dared to speak aloud. Those moments of truth create the strongest bonds. Why? Because they remind us that we're not alone. When we're vulnerable, we invite others into our lives, not just the polished parts, but the messy, beautiful, authentic reality of who we are. But vulnerability isn't just about relationships with others. It's also about the relationship we have with ourselves. To embrace vulnerability means to stop pretending we're invincible. It means admitting when we're scared, confused, or unsure. It's about giving ourselves permission to feel all the emotions that come with being human: joy, pain, fear, love, and everything in between. When we deny those feelings or try to push them away, we cut ourselves off from the full experience of life. In the context of perseverance, vulnerability plays an even greater role. It's easy to push forward when everything is going smoothly. But what about when life gets hard? What about when we fail, when we fall short, or when we face setbacks that shake us to our core? These are the moments when vulnerability becomes essential. To keep going, we have to be willing to say, I don't have all the answers, but I'm still trying. We have to be able to admit when we need help, ask for support, and lean on others when we're struggling. That's not weakness, that's strength. Vulnerability also creates space for growth. When we allow ourselves to step outside our comfort zones, we risk failure, rejection, and judgment. But that's where all the magic happens. Every time we dare to be vulnerable, we open ourselves to new opportunities, new connections, and new ways of thinking. It's the only way to grow into the person we're meant to become. Growth is uncomfortable. It requires us to sit with uncertainty and face the unknown. But without vulnerability, we stay stuck in the safety of what we know. We trade the possibility of progress for the illusion of security. It's important to remember that vulnerability isn't about oversharing or putting everything on display. It's about authenticity and intention. It's about showing up as your true self, even when it feels risky. It's about being brave enough to admit when you're struggling and compassionate enough to give yourself grace when things don't go as planned. Vulnerability doesn't mean having no boundaries. It means choosing to let people in, one intentional moment at a time. Let's also talk about what vulnerability looks like in action. It's raising your hand in a meeting to share an idea you believe in, even though your heart is pounding. It's telling someone you care about how you really feel. Even when you're terrified, they might not feel the same. It's starting over after a setback, not because you feel confident, but because you believe it's worth trying again. Vulnerability is taking the leap when the outcome isn't guaranteed. It's about choosing courage over comfort every single time. In the end, embracing vulnerability is one of the most powerful tools we have for perseverance. It allows us to move forward, not in spite of our fears and doubts, but with them. It reminds us that we don't have to be perfect to keep going, we just have to be willing. So the next time you feel the urge to give up, ask yourself, what would it look like to lean into vulnerability instead? What would it look like to face this moment with courage, honesty, and a little bit of grace? Chances are it'll look a lot like strength dot. When we hear the word failure, it often triggers a wave of negative emotions, shame, disappointment, frustration. We're taught from an early age to avoid failure at all costs, as if falling short is a reflection of our worth or potential. But what if we've been looking at failure all wrong? What if, instead of being the end of the road, failure is actually the beginning of something new and meaningful? To redefine failure, we must first challenge the societal narrative around it. Success is often portrayed as a straight line, a smooth path from point A to point B. But that's a myth. Every success story you admire is littered with failures, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty. The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of success. It's not a detour, it's the path itself. Failure is not a sign that you're unworthy or incapable. It's simply feedback. It's life's way of teaching us something we didn't know before. Think about the first time you tried to ride a bike. Did you glide effortlessly on your first attempt? Probably not. You wobbled, fell, and maybe even scraped your knee. But each fall taught you something: how to balance, how to steer, how to keep pedaling even when you felt unsteady. Failure, in this sense, was not an endpoint. It was a stepping stone. In our adult lives, we often lose sight of this truth. We start to equate failure with personal inadequacy, and that fear of failing can hold us back from taking risks or trying new things. But here's the thing: avoiding failure means avoiding growth. If you're not failing, you're not challenging yourself. You're not stepping out of your comfort zone. And without those challenges, you're not evolving into the person you're meant to be. Failure also has a way of teaching us resilience. It shows us what we're made of when things don't go as planned. It forces us to dig deep, adapt, and try again. Resilience isn't built in moments of ease, it's built in moments of struggle. Each time you fail and choose to get back up, you're strengthening that muscle. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. In this way, failure isn't a dead end, it's a proving ground for your inner strength. One of the most powerful ways to redefine failure is to stop seeing it as a destination and start seeing it as data. Every time something doesn't work out, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What worked and what didn't? How can I approach this differently next time? By treating failure as a learning opportunity, you strip it of its power to define you. Instead of seeing it as something to fear, you begin to see it as a tool for growth. Let's also talk about the emotional side of failure. It's okay to feel disappointed when things don't go as planned. It's okay to grieve the loss of an opportunity, or to feel frustrated when your efforts don't pay off immediately. But don't let those emotions convince you to give up. Acknowledge them, process them, and then use them as fuel to keep going. Failure is only final if you stop trying. If you keep moving forward, failure becomes just another chapter in your story, not the whole story. We also need to stop comparing our failures to other people's successes. It's easy to look around and feel like everyone else has it figured out. But remember, you're seeing their highlight reel, not their behind-the-scenes struggles. Every successful person you admire has failed probably more times than they've succeeded. The difference is they didn't let those failures define them. They used them as stepping stones to build something greater. Here's an example: Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors in history, failed thousands of times before he successfully created the light bulb. When asked about his repeated failures, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This mindset is a powerful reminder that failure is not a reflection of your limits. It's a reflection of your determination to keep trying. To redefine failure, we also need to normalize it in our conversations. Talk about your failures with others, not just your successes. When we're honest about our struggles, we create a culture that values growth over perfection. We remind each other that it's okay to stumble, as long as we're willing to get back up. Finally, remember that failure often leads us to places we didn't expect but ultimately needed to go. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a redirection. It's the universe's way of pointing us towards something better, something more aligned with who we are and what we're meant to do. Trust that even in failure, there's a purpose. In conclusion, failure is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It's not a sign to stop, it's a sign to keep going. When you redefine failure, you take away its power to paralyze you and turn it into a catalyst for growth. So the next time you face a setback, don't see it as the end of the road. See it as an invitation to learn, to grow, and to try again. Failure is not final, it's a step forward on the path to success. When we face challenges, setbacks, or failures, our inner critic often becomes the loudest voice in the room. It tells us we're not good enough, that we should have done better, or that we'll never succeed. But here's the truth: harsh self-judgment doesn't motivate us, it holds us back. The antidote to this inner voice isn't perfection, it's self-compassion. Self-compassion is the act of treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend. It's about recognizing that you are human, that mistakes and struggles are a natural part of life, and that you are deserving of patience and care, even in your darkest moments. Yet for many of us, self-compassion feels unfamiliar or even uncomfortable. We've been conditioned to believe that being hard on ourselves is necessary for growth, but in reality, the opposite is true. Growth happens when we feel supported, not when we're tearing ourselves down. At its core, self-compassion has three components: self-kindness, recognizing our shared humanity, and mindfulness. Let's break these down. 1. Self-kindness, speaking to yourself with care. Self-kindness means treating yourself as you would a dear friend. Imagine your friend comes to you upset after a failure or mistake. Would you say, "You're such a failure. Why do you even bother? Of course not." You'd likely say something encouraging like, "It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. You'll get through this, so why is it so much harder to extend that same kindness to ourselves?" The way we speak to ourselves matters. Harsh self-criticism can lead to feelings of shame, which often paralyze us and make it harder to move forward. On the other hand, self-kindness creates a sense of safety within ourselves. It allows us to reflect on our experiences with clarity and to approach challenges with a more constructive mindset. When you stumble, remind yourself, "I'm doing the best I can with the resources I have in this moment." Practicing self-kindness also means taking care of your physical and emotional needs. When you're exhausted, overwhelmed, or struggling, give yourself permission to rest. When you need encouragement, seek out supportive words or actions. Self-kindness isn't about indulging every whim, it's about honoring your needs and treating yourself with the respect you deserve. 2. Recognizing our shared humanity. One of the most isolating feelings in moments of struggle is the belief that we're alone, that no one else has ever felt this way or made this mistake. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Struggle is part of the human experience. Every single person you admire has faced challenges, made mistakes, and experienced moments of doubt. When we recognize our shared humanity, we remember that we're not alone in our imperfections. This perspective helps us replace feelings of shame with a sense of connection. It's a reminder that being imperfect doesn't make us less worthy, it makes us human. Shared humanity also helps us reframe our struggles. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can think, "This is a part of life. It's okay to feel this way, and I'm not alone in this experience." This shift doesn't make the pain disappear, but it softens its grip. It reminds us that we're not broken for struggling, we're simply living the messy, beautiful reality of being human. 3. Mindfulness, being present with your emotions. The third pillar of self-compassion is mindfulness, which involves being present with your emotions without judgment. When we face difficulties, it's tempting to suppress our feelings or become consumed by them. Mindfulness allows us to hold space for our emotions, to acknowledge them without letting them define us. For example, if you're feeling disappointed after a failure, mindfulness means recognizing that emotion and allowing yourself to feel it. Instead of saying, "I shouldn't feel this way," you might say, "I feel disappointed right now," and that's okay. It's a natural response to what happened. By acknowledging your emotions, you create space for them to move through you rather than getting stuck in a cycle of denial or self-criticism. Mindfulness also helps us avoid over-identifying with our struggles. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I failed, so I'm a failure. But mindfulness reminds us that our experiences are just that, experiences. They don't define our worth. They're moments in time, not permanent labels. Why self-compassion fuels perseverance. Self-compassion isn't just about feeling good in the moment, it's a powerful tool for resilience. When we approach ourselves with kindness, we create an inner environment where we feel safe to take risks, make mistakes, and keep trying. Instead of fearing failure, we begin to see it as an opportunity for growth. Research supports this idea. Studies show that people who practice self-compassion are more likely to persevere in the face of challenges. Why? Because they're not afraid of being their own worst enemy. They know that even if they fall short, they'll be met with understanding and encouragement, not harsh judgment. Self-compassion also helps us bounce back from setbacks more quickly. When we're kind to ourselves, we're better able to regulate our emotions and maintain perspective. Instead of spiraling into self-doubt, we can reflect on what happened, learn from it, and move forward. Practical ways to practice self-compassion. If self-compassion feels unfamiliar, start small. Here are a few practices to help you cultivate it. Pause and reflect when you catch yourself in a moment of self-criticism. Pause and ask, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, reframe your inner dialogue with more compassionate words. Write a letter to yourself as if you were writing to a friend. Acknowledge your feelings, offer encouragement, and remind yourself of your strengths. Practice self-soothing when you're feeling overwhelmed. Try simple soothing techniques, like placing a hand over your heart or taking slow, deep breaths. Remind yourself that it's okay to feel this way and that the moment will pass. Affirmations. Use affirmations to counter negative self-talk. For example, say to yourself, I am doing the best I can. I am allowed to make mistakes. I am worthy of kindness and love. Seek support sometimes. Self-compassion grows through connection. Reach out to a trusted friend. No one succeeds alone. Life's greatest challenges and its most meaningful triumphs are shaped not just by individual effort, but by the people we surround ourselves with. A strong support network, family, friends, mentors, colleagues, or even a community of like-minded individuals is essential for perseverance and growth. When we build and nurture this network, we create a foundation that helps us navigate adversity, celebrate victories, and stay grounded in the process. Why a support network matters. Human beings are social creatures. Throughout history, we've thrived by working together, leaning on one another for guidance, emotional support, and strength. In modern life, the importance of community remains just as relevant. When we're facing difficulties, our support network can provide perspective, encouragement, and practical help that reminds us we're not alone. A well-rounded support system fosters resilience by giving us the resources, emotional, mental, and even physical, to keep moving forward. Support networks aren't just for tough times, they're also vital during moments of growth and transition. Whether you're embarking on a new career, pursuing a dream, or trying to overcome personal obstacles, having people who believe in you and want the best for you can make all the difference. Their presence amplifies your courage, strengthens your resolve, and helps you reach your goals faster than you would on your own. One of the greatest gifts of a support network is emotional safety. This is the assurance that no matter what you're going through, there's a space where you can be your authentic self without fear of judgment. This kind of safety allows you to share your fears, failures, and dreams openly, knowing you'll be met with empathy and understanding. Emotional safety isn't about being coddled, it's about being understood. It's the friend who listens without interrupting, the mentor who gently guides you through your doubts, and the loved one who reassures you that it's okay to stumble. These connections don't make challenges disappear, but they make them more bearable. They remind us that vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's a bridge to connection. Practical and strategic support. Support networks also provide practical help. This could be as simple as a colleague helping you solve a work-related problem or a friend showing up to help you move on a stressful day. When we're overwhelmed, these tangible acts of support remind us that we don't have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. Strategically, a strong support network can open doors to new opportunities. A mentor might connect you with someone in their professional circle. A peer might share advice that shifts your perspective. Or a community group might provide resources that move you closer to your goals. This kind of support isn't about relying on others to do the work for you. It's about recognizing that collaboration and shared wisdom are powerful tools for success. Diversity in your support network. A well-rounded support network is diverse in its composition. It's not just about having many people in your life, it's about having the right people. Different individuals bring different strengths to the table. Here are some examples. Emotional anchors, these are the people who provide comfort and stability during tough times. They're the ones you turn to when you need to talk, cry, or simply feel heard. Mentors and guides, mentors offer wisdom and perspective gained from experience. They help you navigate challenges and guide you toward growth. Peers and collaborators, these are the people who are walking a similar path as you. They share your struggles and successes, creating a sense of camaraderie and mutual encouragement. Cheerleaders are your unwavering supporters. They celebrate your victories and remind you of your strengths even when you doubt yourself. Accountability partners, these are the individuals who help you stay on track, whether it's by checking in on your goals, offering constructive feedback, or holding you to your commitments. How to build a support network. If you don't feel like you have a strong support network yet, that's okay. Building one takes time and intention. Here are some steps to help you start. Reflect on your current relationships. Consider the people in your life. Who do you feel supported by? Who brings positive energy and encouragement? Who challenges you to grow? Identify these individuals and deepen your connections with them. Seek new connections. If you feel like your current network is limited, look for opportunities to meet new people. Join groups, attend events, or participate in activities that align with your interests and goals. Communities centered around shared values or pursuits can be a great place to find like-minded individuals. Be intentional. Relationships don't grow by accident, they require effort. Reach out to people, check in regularly, and show genuine interest in their lives. Building a support network isn't about what others can do for you. It's about creating a mutual exchange of care and encouragement. Be vulnerable. True connection requires authenticity. Don't be afraid to share your struggles or ask for help. Vulnerability often strengthens relationships and invites others to open up in return. Nurture the relationships you value. Once you've built connections, prioritize maintaining them. Show gratitude for the support you receive, offer your support in return, and invest time in deepening those bonds. Leaning on your network during challenges. Having a support network is one thing, learning to lean on it is another. Many people hesitate to ask for help, fearing they'll be a burden or appear weak, but asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you trust others and value their presence in your life. When you reach out, you give others the opportunity to show up for you, a gift they'll likely appreciate. When we build and nurture a support network, we tap into the power of collective strength. Challenges that feel insurmountable when faced alone become manageable when shared. Successes that feel significant on their own become even more meaningful when celebrated with others. A support network doesn't just help us persevere, it enriches every step of the journey. So, as you navigate life's ups and downs, remember you don't have to do it alone. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, challenge you, and walk beside you. Together, you'll achieve more than you ever could on your own, and along the way, you'll create connections that make the journey worthwhile. In conclusion. The journey of life is rarely a solitary one. It is filled with moments of struggle, growth, and triumph. And through each of these moments, the people we surround ourselves with play a crucial role. We are not meant to carry our burdens alone, and by embracing vulnerability, redefining failure, practicing self-compassion, and building a strong support network, we create a foundation that helps us not just survive, but thrive. Remember, resilience isn't about being invincible. It's about being human. It's about showing up, even when the road is tough, and knowing that with the right people by our side, there's no challenge too great. So as you move forward, be kind to yourself, be brave in asking for help, and never forget that you are never truly alone in this journey. We are all in this together. Thank you.